All right, now that we're holding the guitar and we're using a pick a little bit and we've strummed some of the strings, I'm going to teach you your first E minor chord. And it's the first chord I always teach beginners. And remember, a chord is when we play multiple notes at the same time. And the cool thing about guitar is we learn about 6 of these and we can start playing all or most of our favorite songs. So we're about to learn the first one. It's called E minor. Here's what we're going to do. Hopefully our guitar's in tune. And we're going to take our index finger, hello there, and we're going to rock. We're going to do the finger moonwalk. Here's our first chord. It's called E minor. We're going to take our index finger and we're going to put it on the 2nd fret, 1, 2, of the A string, Eddie 8, Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie. So the A string is the 2nd string down. We're going to take our index finger. We're going to use the very tip of it with a little bit of curve in our finger, just the very tip of it straight down. Okay, that's the first thing. The next thing, we're going to take our middle finger and we're going to put it on the 2nd fret as well, but on the D string, the string right next to it, these 2 fingers, okay? Now check this out though, we don't want the palm of our hand to be blocking the strings. We want to use the tips of our 2 fingers here, and hopefully there's some space here so we can hear all the strings. This E minor chord, you have these 2 fingers down, but you strum all the strings to get the chord. Listen. So if our hand's kind of touching the other strings, it's not going to sound good. We want these 2 notes and the rest of the open strings. Hello, this is an E minor chord. It's moody and kind of sad, but you can rock with it too. Okay, a couple of things when we're learning chords that we want to practice with. 1, we want to know the first kind of like locator point. I think this is really important. We want to know that with E minor, I want you to learn that it's the index finger right there. And what that does is, boom, it gets your hand, without having to learn or memorize a whole shape, knowing where that first note is, get your hand in the proper position as we kind of have to work on getting the whole chord shape. You're going to see with the other chords, it becomes even more handy, I find. Because boom, you're like E minor instead of like, what's that whole shape? Where do all my fingers go? No, don't think about it that way. Go E minor, boom, that finger. Then we'll start to add the other fingers, okay? So that's the first thing about learning chords, is that locator point. And it's going to be whatever note is highest up first. For E minor, it's the 2nd fret on the A string. Then we have the 2nd fret on the D string, and that is our E minor chord. Okay, another thing you need to do when you're a beginner to learn chords is when we get the chord down and we strum it and it sounds good, it sounds right, and what we do is we're going to pretend like we have like, you know, some liquid nitrogen or some freeze spray or whatever, and just like spray it on my fingers so my hand's frozen. And this is just a good little tip. I know I'm getting a little silly there, but what you want to start working on is keeping the shape of the chord as you take your hand off. See that? Hands off, the shape of the chord still there. And then, with that locator point, form the chord again. Shit. And with that locator point, you form the chord again. And as we learn more chords, this is another thing that's going to get you to strumming and memorizing the chords as quickly as possible. Off, back on. Okay, and then another thing is, with our right hand, we can start doing some down strums. And so I'm just going 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if I subdivided that counting and added the word and, 1 and, that's going to be an up strum. So you can experiment by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. So knowing that the numbers are the down and the ands are the up, you can just start experimenting like 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, you know, just adding the and on different numbers. So that time we just added the and on right after the 1. So it would be 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3, 4. Let's say we added the and just to the 2. 1, 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2 and 3, 4. Let's say we added the ands to all the numbers. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now just remember, strum at the sound hole. I'm doing it up here just so you can see both hands together, because I think the split screen can kind of confuse beginners especially. So just remember, you know, you're comfortably strumming right here, but I'm showing it to you up here. Okay? Let's say you could just pick random things like the and of 3. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know, ands just on the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and, etc., etc. And we can, you know, we'll get fancier with our rhythms as we go along. But just to recap, we've learned our first cowboy chord or open chord or beginner chord, and it's called E minor. Now this is also going to raise the question of that term minor. So that's a word that I just added after a letter, E minor. Minor is telling you a type of sound of a chord. Minor is like the sad version of a chord. And the happy version of the chord is called major. And every letter in music that we have, which is A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, each one of those letters has a minor chord and a major chord. So the minor is a sad sounding chord, where the major is like the happier version of the chord. And we combine these together to make songs, because we're kind of toying with your emotions as we you know, have learned these, you know, tricks that seem like magic. Okay, so we've learned a minor chord, E minor. The E major chord, which we're not going to learn right now, just so, you know, as I'm talking about the term, you're going to hear it sounds like this. Kind of a happier sound, where E minor is the sad version. So, another little quick recap. We play E minor, we take the index finger and we put it at the locator point, which is the 2nd fret of the A string. Then we're going to take our middle finger and put it on the 2nd fret on the D string. We want to make sure we can hear all the strings. We strum it from the top string down. And we also learned with all chords, including the future chords, if we form the shape, we keep the shape, take our hand off, and then put it back on. And you're going to do this a lot. This is like a muscle memory exercise that's going to enable you to get the chord and learn it and memorize it as quick as possible. Okay? So that's your first cowboy chord. You did great. E minor. Tons of songs use it. Nirvana to the Beatles. All right? So hang tight for your next easiest open chord to learn.